Hello YouTube, it's StrongMonk74 here, and I am bringing you another real quick weapon review. This time is for the Scar H SV, one of the designated marksman rifles, DMRs that you got in the game. This one is the very last DMR that you will unlock once you've gone through all the others, and for me it's the one I go to most often, especially on big maps, big open maps. I really enjoy this weapon. It's very, very quick at taking people down if you use it in the right way. So let's just have a real quick look at how I got it set up. So I got it set up with a K80 sight, accessories, no accessories. The barrel, just used a flash hider. The under barrel, I used the angled grip. Basically, that's because there's the first shot multiplier that you get in the game, and the initial vertical recoil after each shot, being a semi-auto, you're going to be suffering from that more or less after every shot. At range, especially at range, you want to be getting those shots off as quickly as you can, otherwise someone's just going to duck behind cover. So anything you can do to help you with that vertical recoil, in my book, is a good thing. Just helps you get those shots, those follow-up shots off nice and quick, or quicker. And that's the real trick with these weapons, is to get those follow-up shots off as quickly as you can and on target. And that's the paint job, Tiger Urban. So let's go in game. Let's see how it performs, and I'll talk a bit more about the gun. Okay, so here we are, and I'm just playing some domination. I know I mentioned that the gun or DMRs are more suited to longer range engagements, but I just wanted to show you how they can handle in sort of like close quarters. One thing I will say is, if you do plan on using these in close quarters or in any smaller maps, you're definitely going to have to change up your playstyle, because one of the major things with these weapons is the penalty you get for firing on the move. There's so much penalty involved for firing on the move, and all that means is that you are going to have to choose, you basically fire from cover, because you're going to have to be fairly stationary when you're firing, if not even stock stationary, to be fair, because you're going to have to play in that manner. You want to be exposing as little of yourself as possible, or you want to be flanking, coming up to the enemy from a position that they're not expecting you to be, and that will allow you to play, to be stock still, get your shots off on target. It's worse when your target's at range. Closer up, you can probably get away with a bit more movement, but generally speaking, if they're at any sort of distance, you're going to have to start being completely stationary. And the reason for that is basically, the penalty that you get for firing on the move. It's so great that if all your rounds aren't hitting the target, then you will get, you're not going to be taking someone down. This weapon has a max damage of 43. So if someone has a full bunch of health, and you clip them with a headshot, even with a 2x multiplier for the headshot, that's only 86 damage. You're not going to take them down. So and you'll give them a very good indication of where you're firing from. They'll easily be able to get into a bit of cover and maybe come straight back at you with some automatic fire. But you will notice, generally speaking, when I'm playing, especially on game modes like Domination or TDM or anything where there's smaller maps, I do have to slow right down and try and fire from cover and try and remain stock still. That's the only way I know of being successful with these weapons. I do still enjoy playing with them. It does mean I'd have to change up my play style a bit, but if you've got to sort of like play slightly differently, that's all good. It just keeps the game still a little bit interesting for you. As for the weapon itself, the reason I chose it is the last DMR that you unlock. I do find it to be, for me anyway, personally, I find it to be the most effective. I generally tend to find it very easy to take players down, especially at range. My preferred engagement mode, as I said many times, is sort of mid to long range, and this, in my mind, this is where this weapon excels. I think if you get something like the SKS, that will probably excel up close a little bit better. It's probably got slightly better hip fire. But for my play style, for my play method, how I like my engagements to go, medium to long range. That's how I like to play. So if you've got a similar sort of playstyle, I highly recommend having a look at this weapon. All you're going to have to do is just slow down a bit, make sure you're using a bit of cover, check your corners. One thing with Dom as well, domination, is like if you find you're running constantly, like running around the map constantly, you are just going to get picked off. One of the reasons I enjoy playing with this weapon is it slows me down, and I seem to be a little bit more successful actually in game modes like domination, because all I'm doing is running from one point of cover to another, maybe getting 2 or 3 kills, and then moving on to the next point of cover. That seems to be a really successful method of play for me anyway on domination. Maybe others have got even other ways of playing, but for me that's the best way. Anyway, for now that's me, I'm done, I'm out of it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.